So we're going to play a Zen Fantasy 2-page role-play Theater of the Mind. We're going to do it as a group, and we're going to play an oldie but a goodie. It's a quest called the Crown of Pyzium, or Caravan of Doom. The players are going to start in the city of Krigor, and they're going to try to reach the city of Pyzium up there in the end of the map. They have so many days they need to do it in, and some hilarity will ensue along the way. No, it's actually more of a serious mission. And 2-page roleplay, exactly what's advertised. You have a character page, which details the combat magic and do something anything, a catch-all for all the other actions in the game, and a ref page, which describes how you can play this game solo, or co-op, or with a referee. And there's even some charts here for a handy situation start, handy quest middle, and handy climactic ending. So we're in the desert of Pyzium, and the company starts the mission as they have many, penniless and hungry. Our story begins in a small inn, the Bloated Camel, and an aptly named City of Lies. It's at the very bottom of the map. Our a caravanserai on the edge of the Great Desert. The characters are exhausted. They're complaining about the gruel again. We'll skip a little bit of this and we'll go on. Ismet, a caravaneer, wishes the party to consider his proposition. He has a very valuable gift for the Emir of Pyzium. He shows you a crown of great beauty. The coronation is a mere 10 days. You have 10 days from now to get the crown to Pyzium. The last men I tasked ended up fleeing in terror, and so the crown was left lost in the desert till I recently recovered it. He shows you the head and the impaled head, I should say the severed head, of a gentleman who did not take the crown. Now, he'll pay you a fortune to take this crown to the city of Pyzium. You don't need to worry about stealing the crown in order to get your sustenance here. So we're going to start the group in the City of Lies at the bottom of the map. And you have 10 days, and you can see by the markers, some days take 1 day ride, and some day takes 2 days walk, and some take 1 day ride or 1 day walk. All right, so the City of Lies we're starting in, but before we start, we have to get a caravan. So you have some choices here.
And it looks like the shortest route is 8 days.
The shortest route is
2 days from the City of Lies to the Low Dunes. I'm assuming walking, of course. 2 days from the Low Dunes to the Oasis. 1 day to the dunes, 1 day to the Stone Road, 1 day to the Sea of Sand, 1 day to Pyzium. So we need horses.
7, 8, 9. You can make it 9 there. 11 if but totally by walking. But yes, so you have a choice of 4 different caravans that are heading out. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to make some rolls here if you want to pop over to your characters. And these are all going to be insight on whether or not you... I'll let you make insight, critical deed, or scourge. Any of the 3 primary roles in the game under combat magic or do something anything in order to find out the backgrounds on the 4 different caravans. So we'll start with Rusty. Rusty, give me a roll on either combat magic or do something anything to figure out a scourge, figure out a critical insight, or figure out a critical deed. I guess with you as a gadgeteer, we were looking for
do something, anything. Yeah.
Okay, so give me your 2 dice and add 1.
Got a 6.
You got a 6 for critical deed. So what was your deed that you actually did to figure out the first caravan, the Winds of Shala?
Oh, it was very simple. I basically talked to my various contacts while over a poker game in the local establishment.
Sounds terrific. And you find out that the Winds of Shala is Omar Hostar and his 20 guards. Very good. The guards are not very impressive though, and the caravan is only carrying beans, grains, and beads, valued very, very, very poorly. It's barely enough to get them across the desert. And the handlers will walk as is their custom. So, but the cargo itself is being carried by huge sand beetles that are chained together in a line. That's very Empire of the Petal Throne. So, and I go on to Conrad. Are you with us yet in chat as well?
I am.
Oh, terrific. So I need you to make either a scourge roll, a critical deed roll, or a critical insight roll with your character in order to figure out what the second caravan is carrying and how trustworthy they are.
Let's see. So for the sake of the argument, I'll assume I'm a rapscallion.
Okay, you can start as a rapscallion. Sure, it's a die 6 on any table.
Actually, I'm sorry. Let me start as gadgeteer.
Yeah, I think a double gadgeteer is not going to hurt you.
Okay, so I will do something, anything, which was to discover the contents of the
caravan. Sure. Go ahead and give me the roll.
I'll disguise myself as a member of the caravan and just participate and learn what's going on.
No, he does have 21 well-armed guards, and you can easily impersonate one of them. They carry administrative documents. Or he has 21, and one is not going to make it to the actual mustering if you decide not to take this caravan. They carry administrative documents and coins minted of silver, valued at a respectable sum. And they are a caravan that's mounted on Arabian stallions. And I think Mike has already done the math saying, well, the first one is walking, so you're going to have to find another caravan along the way or break off from them if you're going to make the 10-day criteria to get to Pyzium. But this one is on stallions, and it is going to Pyzium as well. And I move over to Mike. Mike, how do you find out information on the third caravan?
Well, you mentioned something about there being a scourge in the city?
Well, the scourge would just be the fact that if you try to find anything about the guys, they're probably putting up a roadblock, being very non-committal on who they are. And by eliminating the scourge as a general term, it's overcoming an obstacle.
So, as a barbarian, I will try and defeat a scourge using the combat table by, just finding some people who are talking about the caravans and punching them in the face until they tell me what I want to know.
Okay, you have a direct approach. Fist, glove, and face. Go ahead and give me 2 dice on combat here, please.
Ooh, that's a 4. Clenched. Defeat lowly minion or gain modifier to treat any roll 4 as a 6.
You probably want the modifier here since there is not really a lowly modifier. But we do have then 2 caravans we still need to suss out. And I go over to Tony. Tony, your character is the Enchantress. What is the Enchantress going to do to find out about the tribesmen of Tamala?
I'm going to read the runes, read the stones, and find out what it tells me.
Go ahead and give me 2 dice on magic.
A 5, respite.
+1 because of the destined status puts you a 5, and that's a respite. But that respite, if it happens again, you'll be treated as a 6, which is nice. But all of a sudden, we've attracted a great mob. Now, who is it that says this scenario is filled with sandworms? Well, I think it's an easy enough thing to add a sandworm. So you guys are attacked by a large sandworm. So now I go back around to Rusty. Rusty, we have still 2 more critical insights, critical deeds, or scourge to eliminate. Plus, we now have the great mob of the sandworm that we need to eliminate. What would you like to do?
Yeah, I'm not good at killing things. I don't
take the critical deed then.
So I'll take a critical deed, and
okay.
Let's see here.
How do you find out about the caravan, the other 2 caravans?
I think I will pose as a merchant wanting to join them.
Sure. Go ahead. Give me your 2 dice roll and double 6s. We're not going to see that again in a lifetime. Wow, that was a good roll there, Rusty. You find out that the tribesmen of Tamala, led by Verona Starr, she's a female warrior with 18 female guards, and they are transporting slaves. They have some crafted goods, but the crafted goods are not as valuable as the slaves. Now, the 18 fighting guards guarding these slaves are impressive, and the slaves themselves are quite impressive, but it's all at a walking pace, so it probably is not going to be the one you're going to take. And I move on to Conrad. We still have the Great Worm that we're fighting, and we still have 1 more caravan to infiltrate. What would you like to do, sir?
On the Great Worm, that is a...
I will note, Conrad, since you were late, that I am a barbarian, and maybe I'll beat the hell out of the worm?
Okay, so I'm sorry. So what does that leave for me to handle?
Insight or critical deed or scourge, but scourge is under combat as well.
So critical deed for the last caravan on the do something anything.
Do something anything it is. My dice rolls. Rolling 2 dice, adding 1.
Yes.
A 5.
A 5.
I'm not seeing that page on the.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing that on the tab.
Character page?
No, the Yeah, the tables page. I see the ref page, but I don't see the other one.
Go to your character page,
Let me
Conrad.
see
I'm sorry, I take that back. No, I do see it.
It is, yes. I think it's okay there, yeah. So if you go over to your character tab, you can see the fact that do something, anything, a roll of 5 is a poor guess. What did you make a poor guess, or how did you come to a poor guess about the last caravan, the Black Claw? Did you make some sort of wrong assumption? Go ahead and tell us what happened.
Well, the uniform of the original guards that I was working with was so comfortable I forgot to change it. So when I arrived, they decided, well, that's not going to work.
Well, if once we get past this scene, you of course recover. But if you roll again on the same table and roll that 5 again, it's going to result in a result 3, which is going to add even more problems to the group. So I go over to Mike. Mike, we have a great mob that has been summoned by accident.
We do have a great mob that's been summoned by accident in the form of a sandworm, and
Sure.
As a barbarian, that gives me something to go beat on and win acclaim and fame and maybe even the goodwill of somebody else. But anyway,
now we're treating 4s as 6s, I believe. Is that correct?
We are
or
treating
5s?
4s as 6. We are treating 4s as 6s, but I
And you
rolled a
got yourself
5
a
plus
5.
1 is 6, which is triumphal. So I have defeated the great mobber and scourge.
Let's kill that
so I
worm.
have slain the worm outside the city walls, because with a worm out there, no caravan can leave. I just saved all the caravans. I'm awesome.
You are awesome, and you can also have worm meat for dinner. I go back around to Tony. Tony, there's one more insight we need to make about the Black Claw. If you'd like to use that magic and tell us how.
Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's I did have a respite. I took a break from the reading the runes, but now I'm back to it.
Okay, 2 dice.
And there we go.
6 is easy. You
6.
could also have rolled a 4, which would have become a 6 because of previous rolls, and a 5, which would have become a 6 from previous rolls. So we figured out that the Black Claw, the last of them, it is a caravan that does not have any gear, does not have any possessions. So whatever they're transporting, it's either information or it's just a VIP, but they are mounted on camels. So the process of elimination, you can either join, well, we could call the sandworms as relatively fast, but no, you have the Sons of Kraut or the Black Claw. I will go to the next person, Rusty. You are our de facto leader for this decision. Did you join the Sons of Kraut or the Black Claw across the desert?
The first group that has the horses, I think.
The first group had 21 well-paid guards, which meant 20 well-paid guards, because Conrad had to dispatch one. And we're
I
on
get
the
paid.
waiting
I don't have a
staff.
problem with that.
And they were carrying actually a shipment of silver. So silver and documents. And you talk to the gentleman, Rusty, and he says, how can he trust you? So convince this guy with a critical deed that you can be trusted as a group.
Money is the way of trust.
Sure, you
And
can pay
there
him.
we go.
Okay, so you're just going to pay him saying it's an Obi-Wan moment.
Add
We
to
want
his
no
silver.
questions. Yes, we'll pay you double that when we get to Pyzium and no questions. And they say, sure, we got no problem with that. And I'm back on the quest page for a moment, and we move on to the next part. And it is a somewhat. We do not have to demonstrate whether or not we can ride camels, because camels did not get picked up. But the first event that moves to is the Low Dunes, and at the Low Dunes, and you can notice here as well for as editorial, if you guys were looking for choices, you have a few choices within the path, but in a way you're going to be at the victim of the story as it unfolds anyway. The first few hours in the desert are the worst. Sand coats your throats. The smell of the beast fills your nostrils and makes your eyes waters. The sun bakes your skin. The wind burns your eyes. The next few hours are even worse than the first. The sores on your legs from riding these strange beasts begin to welt. You're not used to, obviously, the smaller Arabian ponies. Your lower back aches. And we're going to try to weather this discomfort. That's one scourge of the group that you guys have to overcome. Just get your confidence back. But we also have 4 bandits that attack the group. Now, normally the bandits would be dispatched by the 20 men. So we'll say there's probably 4 and 50 bandits, but the 20 other men in the group are going to handle 50 of them. You guys only need to handle 4. I'm over to, I think it was Conrad. Conrad, would you please make a roll on the table and try to kill one of the 4 bandits?
They are minions, correct?
They are.
And we have switched scenes, so I'm not in jeopardy of making a second poor guess.
That is correct.
Okay, and I'm still wearing the fine guard's uniform that is comfortable and.
Sure, and it also matches the guard's uniform of this group. The guy might even still think you're a member of this group.
And I have a pocket of points from being well paid.
Yes,
so I rolled a 5 + 1 is 6. That dispatches a minion.
Okay, so we have a total of 3 minions left. I go over to Mike. Mike, kill a minion or give me a scourge roll.
You're the only one who can clear the scourge easily.
That's true, and the scourge is not the minions. The scourge is...
The scourge would be something like the difficulty you're having with the animals. So, and the whole fatigue of the journey. You need to inspire the guys. If we put it in freestyle form, it would be more like a battle cry.
Yeah, it's funny that you said battle cry, because I was about to say I will sing rousing songs of my homeland far to the north of this horrible, hot and sandy desert.
We are used to those songs, and it just makes us want the journey even less. Go ahead.
Yeah, but, a 4 + 1 is a 5. Sparks fly. Defeat lowly minion great mob. Or gain modifier to treat any roll 5 as a 6.
Now, I will allow you to kill one of the minions by accident that came upon you if you tell us how. Or you can treat any modifier roll of 5 as a 6.
Your choice. Did it with his song.
Maybe I'm tempted to say that the lowly minion came charging me because I was making noise, which made me the most immediate target because everyone else was trying to be quiet.
So you want to kill the minion rather than get the modifier? But
I think I'll just give everybody the roll 5 as a 6 because that's going to help everybody.
I think that's probably a better thing. So if I were playing
solo, I'd probably kill the minion. But since I'm playing with a group, I think I see more value in the die modifier.
The die modifiers are pretty good, and besides that, it'll give you an extra chance to get the scourge as we go around the table. Tony, there are 3 minions, plus there's a scourge that needs to be eliminated. You are not terrible at combat as a user of magic, but go ahead and give me your. What do you do, sir?
I will call fire down from the heavens to kill minions.
Go ahead and give me two dice on magic, please.
Let's call that a 6 and kill a
Fire
minion.
is always great to call down from heaven. It tends to disrupt everything. I go around to Rusty. Rusty, what would you like to do?
I'll do something, anything.
Do something, everything.
Everything, excuse me. And there we go. I've got a 7.
You killed a minion. How did you kill this minion?
Oh, well, very simple. I simply killed him with an arrow.
And killed him with an arrow, absolutely. It sounds like a typical Delver act to shoot some guy. Probably in the back. Killed him with kindness. Well, we're not into poetic notions in this game. And we have a scourge and we have a deuce, a gadgeteer who needs to kill one more minion for you, Conrad.
Let's see. Am I good at defeating scourges? No, that's we need our combat guys doing that. Okay, so I will.
Definitely not good at defeating scourges. 2 dice take the lower.
I will ride my pony, or my stallion rather, not pony, my stallion, and I will chase one of them into the rain of fire that Tony brought down.
Sounds good. Sounds like a great plan.
2 dice. 4.
Now, 4 is confusing. You're gonna be treated as a rapscallion. Your more diabolical side has come out, and we still have one more minion and 1 scourge to eliminate. Mr. Barbarian, go ahead, Mike.
Well, I'm going after the scourge, but the way I'm doing this is you said there were actually more than 4 minions. There were actually like 20 or 50, and the rest are being taken care of by the guards, right?
Correct, yes.
Well, I'm actually out there with the guards helping to take care of that, and my presence, the lone warrior who slew the sandworm, is going to raise the morale of everybody and get rid of the scourge.
Okay, give me 2 dice and see how that works.
A 4 becomes a 5, 5 becomes a 6.
Yeah, 4 becomes a 5 because of Destined, and that 5, because of the previous event, has treating 5s as 6s. So you have eliminated the Scourge. Very nicely done, Mike. And we're going to go on to one more Bandit for our Enchantress. One more guy. He's accosting you. He has you grabbed by the wrist. What are you going to do, Magic Man?
Well, he
Magic
will have...
Magic Lady, sure.
Please, yes.
We play a gender-neutral game in this time, but go ahead.
He'll be electrocuted for touching
that works.
me.
Yeah, absolutely. You have that permanent aura. Yes. Oh, a double 1 though. Now double 1 becomes a 2, and that's a power.
It's a power spike.
So we're going to add a critical insight, and you've lost your destined status at the thing. So the man apparently, as you electrocute him, it causes him to recoil back in pain, but it doesn't knock him out as you were hoping. And unfortunately, you have to figure out how he is immune to this power, so you still have trust in it later. It's over to Rusty. Rusty, you are a gadgeteer. A gadgeteer can roll 1 die, and you do have
I hate to bring this up, but because our barbarian's been using combat, he's supposed to subtract 1 from magic.
Thank you, and we will go ahead and apply that modifier from here on out.
Okay.
And which means if you went back to that critical insight, we're at -1 on that critical insight. It's going to be very tough to get. Go ahead and give me. I might have to apply a permanent penalty to you guys this game.
Sorry.
Go ahead and give me we have 1 critical insight to Gray and 1 more minion to defeat, Rusty.
Yeah, I'm going to have to. I'm going to go ahead and try the magic, rolling 1 die.
Okay, 1 die.
And I got rid of the critical insight.
You did, because that's +1 for your destin, but -1 because we are in the midst of combat as well.
But 6 is a 6.
Roll. Who is this man on the other side of the microphone?
It's unbelievable. It must.
Whenever you shave him, though, the dice. When you
I
shave
was
him,
also going to say
improves.
that some of these things, like critical deeds and critical insights, we can carry over. It's certainly within the flair of the game that you have 1 pending, you have 2 pending that you can take over as we do further scenes. But Rusty has easily done the critical insight here. He has pointed out to Tony that you need some sort of insulation between your actual electrical powers and yourself. You are grounding yourself, or some other science that is total hogwash in a world of magic. But you seem to be more confident about it.
Or remove that silver bracelet that you have before you do electrical stuff. Yeah.
Exactly, and then the guy comes up and just crushes the man's skull on the ground. Well, no, it might be Conrad's job to do it. 1 more guy, Conrad. How do you defeat him?
Did someone say silver bracelet?
Yes.
I'm just checking. I mean, he's gonna make a living. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. You all need to make a living.
I am a rapscallion at this point, so I am only rolling a single 6-sided die.
You are. You can pass if you wish, and send
I think I should pass and let someone else.
Yes, it's a very prudent thing. Check that ignoble. Mike, it's over to you. How do you kill this last minion that's trying to run away?
With my axe.
Throw an axe across the desert, and he goes down. Oh, that's ugly. Okay, so let's see. We're in the first night in the desert. I'm back to my quest here. We're in the low dunes. And in the low dunes, the night is spent in low dunes where the wind whistles for sons to return home to their families and pets. All around is so dark and has little hope, yet the desert is alive with vermin and scavengers who call all darkened places home. Let it be said, a man who has truly watched the desert at night will never again find comfort in sleep. So, here is our first moment that you guys decide to look at the crown, and the Caravaneers that you're with, they look at the crown, and everyone is awed by the crown. And you start playing a little game, and somebody decides to become king, and that would be a roll for Tony. Tony, you are our first victim, I see.
Great.
Yes. You get to put the Crown of Pyzium on, or you need to make a roll, like a critical insight roll, to know that you don't want to do that. So which is it going to be, holy man?
I'm going to try to make a critical insight roll to not do that.
Okay. It's probably prudent.
5.
5 to 5. Did you
I'm
not
destined.
I don't think you got your destined status back.
He did not.
Nope. It is a respite, and we've attracted more sandworms.
Yes, we probably got a sandworm onto that. I'm going to hold on to that sandworm for just a second till we get through the actual interlude of the crown. But through trying to avoid the crown, maybe somebody comes up and says, "Stop being a worrywart and put the crown on. And so they just go ahead and put it on your head, and you have no resistance to it. Now, when you put the crown on your head, you dream that you're riding in the desert. It's a beautiful day, but it's hot, and the sun is extra punishing. And yet the sun seems also strange. It seems to glow with a red hue. The sun has never looked like this. You glance around to see great wolves of the desert rising up, almost forming from the desert itself. And you watch as your friends fall one by one to the terrible creatures being ripped apart. Suddenly you see a great alpha wolf leader. Here comes our great mob. The creature returns your stare and you at him. You need to bring down that great creature inside of this daydream. And go ahead and give me a roll to defeat a great mob on magic, Tony. Back-to-back rolls for you.
Okay.
And you may wish to alter the cosmos. That's a terrific roll.
I'd rather they do that. Alter the cosmos.
Yes. And you're now going to let everyone roll 3 dice. And I'm going to let the other members of your dream here. I'm going over to Rusty. Rusty, we need to defeat a great mob. You are rolling 3 dice. Do you do magic? Sure, you can do magic.
Yeah, I can do magic and 3 dice.
Give me 3 dice. We also need to get Tony's destined status back. So there's a couple little things we need to do here.
I will roll a 5, which becomes a 6.
A 5 becomes a 6. No, it's a 4 becomes a 5, doesn't it, Rusty? By the way,
and because Tony has already done a 5, it says happens here. Treat as result 6.
That is true. You're right. So thank you, Rusty. And so you have killed the great mob.
Instead of killing the great mob, I'm going to restore Tony's destined status. So we're going to go ahead and shake Tony even within the dream state that he's in. We're trying to get him to release the effects of the crown is having on him. We wanted to keep doing the magic before anybody does any combat. So
yes, that's true. I don't even think we need much combat here, but we'll see when we get over to Mike. Conrad, you're rolling 3 dice on do something anything or 3 dice on magic, and we need to still defeat a great mob. That sort of puts us into magic capability. Describe your magic for us, please.
So I use a little magic called technology. So I know about levers and pulleys and such.
Sure, levers and pulleys.
He's a witch. Burn him.
He's a gadgeteer, I guess. Go ahead.
And of course, witches can float. So buoyancy, 3 dice 6, looking for the 5. It looks like, I think, right?
Are you up on you're on the magic table? Absolutely. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, it is a 5 or 6, right? Would get me.
Yeah, 5 or 6.
A 3 becomes a 4.
A 3 becomes a 4. As we alter the cosmos again in other game systems of the 2-page role-play variety, that can toggle on and off, but here it does not. It simply is a pass. So you are in your box of magic tricks like Felix, but you do not seem to have anything prepped before Mike comes up with his axe. Mike, what are you going to do? You can do combat, or do barbarians do magic? They do.
They don't do magic well.
Barbarians do magic very poorly.
Yes.
I would roll 3 dice 6 and take the lowest.
But you could do combat here and just roll 3 dice 6, trying to get the destined status back for Tony.
Tony's
we already restored that. It's to kill the great mob. Mike, come on, 3 dice 6 on combat where you're adding one of the die. You're not going to roll that as a barbarian to kill a great mob.
Of course,
given that it's the only thing left to be doing,
but since this is Tony's dream / nightmare, in Tony's dream, they are not killed with my great axe. They are killed because their heads are exploding because they really hate my songs. Kind of like the End of Mars Attacks.
That sounds ridiculous. How about if you kill them with your axe in Tony's dream, and then Tony also has the foul taste in his mouth that he had to watch you, the barbarian, save him in his own fantasy?
It's not a dream so much as a prophecy, isn't it?
Give me. It is we're going to find out. A 4 becomes a 5, I guess, because you're destined.
Defeat lowly minion or great mob.
The great mob is killed. Now, when you guys come out of this trance and you look around, you seem to have had a collective dream in some way, but only Tony's character, the Enchantress, seems to have been fully absorbed into it, yet you guys were busy fighting great wolves on the perimeter as if it was coming true. That's an ugly thing. All right. Also, you start to realize that this may be something that's not just a fantasy, like you're in some sort of VR reality. But the Crown of Pyzium, as the head of the caravan tells you, is a dangerous artifact in which if you see the wrong fate for yourself, it could become permanent. So if we leave the Crown of Pyzium, nobody else wearing it for the rest of this adventure, by the end of the journey, you guys are going to be torn apart by wolves. That's not a good thing to have over your head. Let's move on with the quest. Where to from here? I think we have a choice of A or B. The B choice is you can't get there from here, so let's go to choice A. And we go to the Sunlit Oasis. Everyone still with me?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Bated breath.
Bated breath. There's no bated breath here.
And we use 4 days of our travel, right?
We're on horseback.
Yeah, but each one of those is 2 days. Oh, walk.
1 day ride, 2 day walk. So we're on.
Okay.
And we enter into the area of the Sunlit Oasis. Suleiman's Inn is on the edge of the oasis. Suleiman is dressed in a dusty robe. He has a jovial manner and gives the impression that he knows much that is unsaid. And he tells you that you, Enchantress, magic will always lead to a bad end in this desert. Beware of what you encounter. Now, you all may deal with Suleiman, but there's a critical insight involved with Suleiman. The rest of the Caravaneers do not want to stay at the inn. They decide to stay at the oasis itself. So I go over to Tony. Tony, do you want to stay at the inn? It's a comfortable room. It could be a great sleep. Or do you want to avoid that?
I wish to stay at the inn and get the good sleep.
And get the good sleep, okay? And I go over to Rusty. Do you want to stay at the inn and get the good sleep? Or did you want to... Did you want the to stay with the Caravaneers in the oasis?
Let's see. Do I get to keep my horse with me at the inn?
Sure, you can put it in the stable there, yeah.
Okay, then I'll stay at the inn.
And I go to Conrad. Do you want to stay at the inn, or did you want to sleep with the Caravaneers?
A man that has seen the desert at night does not sleep well.
That's true. It is a prophecy as well.
I'll sleep with the Caravaneers.
Oh, okay. You're going to be out of this next mission if anything bad is happening to Tony or Rusty. Is that the way you want to play it? You can.
Sure.
Yep.
Or if anything good happens to them,
he's going to stop out for one chapter and verse of our poem, our epic poem. Mike, did you want to sleep outside or did you want to sleep inside?
Well, if something bad happens to Conrad while sleeping outside, he would be all alone. And of course, I have no need for a comfortable bed as a barbarian of the north. I will sleep with the caravan.
Okay, so I got the two guys inside of the inn, Tony and Rusty. Between the two of you, I need you to make a critical insight roll. I'll start with you, Tony. Give me 2 dice, if you would, please.
Okay. Oh gosh, a 3.
Oh.
So you are now going to be treated as a rapscallion, and you have lost your destined status again.
No, you're going to be treated as a Rusty. Is what you're going to be treated as.
Hey! He's on tape. I got video documented evidence that are going to be there until the internet goes down.
There's something going on Seinfeldian here. There's a switch off going on.
Of course, I'm also taping this, and I could create a new highlight reel of. Let's test the theory. If I give you a third die, Tony, roll me 1d6 and let's see what happens. See, come on now. We've seen this. It wasn't 2-2-1. It's 2-2-5. All right.
Once we mock him, it gets better.
Give me 2 dice for a critical deed, Rusty, to try to get Tony back on track so we can count that 5 as a 6 for him.
Let's see. So I can roll critical deed, and he no longer will be a rapscallion.
You can make a critical deed to keep him from becoming a rapscallion and keep him from losing his destined status. Right here, do or die. 2 dice. And of course, you're dealing with Rusty. And
now you're dealing with Rusty. I got a 4.
When it's do or die, you got, unfortunately.
I become a rapscallion.
And you say, "What's wrong with being a rapscallion?" All right, between the 2 rapscallions, I have one without destined. One without destined and one with destined. We're going to go ahead and make a magic roll. Tony, you can roll 1d6. You don't add anything to it. If you wish, it could possibly add enemies inside the inn, and then we'll be calling for Conrad and
it's the way to get back your destined status when you get a 6, or you can get a 4. We can start rolling 3 dice.
Okay.
But I believe rapscallions always roll 1 die and aren't affected by that. I could be wrong.
So, Tony, go ahead and use your magic. Give me 1 die roll as a rapscallion, please.
A 3.
A 3 is going to be a second way. Yes, it's the same thing. You've still lost your destined status. You're still a rapscallion. And over to Rusty, 1 die for you, please. On magic. And back to back, we got a couple of people that are rapscallions without their
mine's
destined
a
status.
4. Mine's a 4.
Yours is
roll 3 dice.
That's true. Okay, you got me there because you're destined. I was too quick to take it away from you. All right.
But that's a point of order. Looking at the special rule at the bottom of the player sheet, rapscallion is like no other. Rapscallion rolls 1d6 always and on all. So, is a rapscallion affected by Alter Cosmos?
It is in this one because it does specifically say that, yes, 1 die always and on all is more of an assumption that you're always the other. When I said in each of the tables, others roll single die roll, others roll single dice roll, others roll single die roll. You can be altered by the cosmos in this game system. Not in every one, but in this game system. We're going to go over to back to Tony. Tony, we still want that critical insight. You're now rolling 3 dice. You can also get your destined status with a good 6.
Okay.
Give me 3 dice.
We have a 6.
There you go.
6.
Get your destined back.
I will be destined.
And we're going to go over to Rusty. Give me 3 dice for a 6, please. And a double 6. We got the critical insight. The head of the inn is actually a djinn, and he moves his inn around. The other members of the caravan, including perhaps Mike and Conrad, don't even see the inn. And so what you realize is Solomon tells you that there will come a time with the crown when you want to get rid of it. And when you want to get rid of it, he gives you, a sim salabim. He gives you a magic phrase to conjure him to appear with his inn, and you can leave the crown there. And when you tell him, well, maybe we have we still have an objective to give it to the Emir of Pyzium, he laughs at that. If that's the outcome, then we can leave the crown with the Emir of Pyzium. And in the nighttime, my 2 guys that are out, Mike and Conrad, roll me a die 6, and high die puts on the crown.
Oh, Conrad.
Conrad, you see a great crowd of people. You imagine the place may be Pyzium itself. You are the center of the attention. The gathered people look up at you as if you are the king. Wave to them. Rightly, from this attention, you are happy. The atmosphere of the air is like a coronation. You look to your right and you see your friends. You look to your left and you see your friends. But none of them look happy. So what's wrong with this situation, Conrad? What do you think is happening here?
Pardon, I'm on mute. They're unhappy because I'm wearing the crown and they're not. I must clearly be the king.
They are. There's also something around your neck. It feels heavy. It's a noose. And then you realize, oh my gosh.
No, it's a necklace. It's a necklace.
It's a necklace. It's a very, very fine necklace. And that the fate of the people will be that when you get to Pyzium, whether you have the crown or not, you all are going to be hanged there. And that's not a good fate. We definitely want to change that before we get to the end. And I move on to, from here, you have 2 choices. Who's left? Mike, you're the person up since Conrad just took his action. Do you want to go to B or do you want to go to D? Or G, I should say. The Dunes of Shala or the Soul Stace?
I think
that's the Death Star behind those dunes. I wouldn't go there.
It is. That is the
desert sun, but the Dunes of Shala is also our shortest path.
I know.
So
I'm going to go to Shala, I think. Yeah.
If Tasha was here, she would be wanting to complete all the places.
Yes, she would.
Death. This chapter is called verse 17 through 15 is called Death on the Road. So Death on the Road. And we are going to, actually, it's not Death on the Road. That would be going Death on the Road to Solstice. You have made a correct decision there, Mike. Let's go to G and find the other Death on the Road. G, the Dunes of Shala. The course of white sand of the desert has no friends, but there are some that can live in these heated lands. They're the Blue Bandits. Okay, Blue Bandits. The caravan masters know the Dunes of Shala are their home. The home of the bandits is an uncharted oasis created by a long-dead wizard who was trapped a siege in this place. Oh, that's very fanciful. The desert leader of the bandits is Tartar the Sheik. And he approaches. He is said to speak with the spirit world and commands the jinns himself. His men are all around him. And so how do you convince the sheik of the dunes of Shala to both give your caravan water and to let you pass? Because the caravan leader was saying, wait a second, we're off course here. We should have head to the village of Kraut first, where we knew we had safe company. Go ahead, and I'm off to it'd be Tony. Tony, how are you gonna find out, or how are you gonna convince the sheik to let you pass?
Well, I was thinking we would show him the crown, perhaps.
You could. That's not a bad
say,
idea.
You know, we're on a holy mission. We have to get the crown to Pyzium.
Sure, they probably all pay fealty to the Emir in one way or another, and show him the marvelous gift. Let's see if that works out for you.
He could join our party.
Give 2 dice. Give me 2 dice.
Special present waiting at the end.
Yes, it is a special place for us all at the end of this. Give me 2 dice on magic, Tony, and see if we get a critical insight out of it. Now 5, you're short. You're still just a little short as well. Yeah, it's a respite. If it happens again, we're going to treat it as 6. But 6, he sends 6 of his bigger men forward, and he says, we will wrestle to find out who is the owner of this crown. So you guys have to defeat 5 minions. I rolled a d6. You saw the roll, right? No. 5 minions. I go over to Rusty. Rusty, there are 5 minions that you have to defeat in this battle, and we want more of a wrestling flair to it. You know, leave the knives behind, barbarians. How do you defeat the first minion, Rusty?
I do anything.
And of course, that's the table, but what do you do as an action?
Oh, well, I simply say, let's do a little arm wrestling here.
Okay.
And sure. I supplement that arm wrestling with a mechanical lever.
All right, go ahead. Sure, a little bit brace to keep you from losing. Give me a
and
6.
They fell for it.
Yeah, 4. Well, they don't raise them. They don't raise them in the desert to be henchmen because of their charm or their wit. We go to Conrad. Conrad, you got 4 more of these guys that we need to defeat with more wrestling or subterfuge.
Desert full of sand.
Sure.
In the face.
Sand in the face. Give me 2 dice.
5 plus 1 is a 6.
6. Okay, we have easily dropped 2 of them. I go to Mike. Mike, if you roll on combat, it could queer our magic, but why not, right?
Well, Tony's got his destined status back, right?
Breaks or breaks. Yes. What do you do to defeat 3 guys, Mike?
What do I do to defeat 3 guys?
Yes.
After telling them how I am the defeater of sandworms and wolves, I just, kindly offer to just arm wrestle the one guy rather than break his neck.
Okay, give me 2 dice, please.
And then I roll a 4, which becomes a 5. Sparks fly, defeat lowly minion.
Okay, do you want to take the modifier, or do you want to take the defeat the minion?
I will take the modifier.
You're gonna referee instead. You say, I'm not gonna. I would wrestle all 3 of you, but instead, I think I should be the person who makes sure that the fight is fair, no weapons. Well, okay, we got 5, so you come in 6s. I go back to Tony. Now, Tony, unfortunately, you're -1 if you use the magic table. You can roll 1 die on combat if you wish.
But both a 6 and a 5 results in a 6. So.
All right. Well, then let's roll that 1 die. Get a +1.
And that's a 4.
Defeat lowly minion or gain modifier to treat any roll as a 4 as a 6.
You're 2. You could be on the sidelines coaching the rest. If you want to add the 4 becomes 6, that's a pretty good, powerful roll.
I will
pretty powerful
take
modifier.
The 4 as a 6.
Okay,
yeah, I'll take the 4
so we have 2 modifiers and 3 guys left. I go over to Rusty. Rusty, you could certainly roll on combat, even 2 dice taking the lower, with half those rolls being successful. Or you can continue to roll looking for the lowly 6 on your do something anything table.
Yeah, I'll do the do something anything.
Okay, what do you do this time? Tell me.
Did you skip Conrad?
I
no,
might.
He's
after sand in the face.
Yeah, that's right. Conrad killed the second guy.
Uh-oh. Bad face.
All right, what happened?
Extra critical deed to resolve.
Yeah, we got a critical deed to resolve. What happened in your wrestling match here with your mechanism, Rusty? Did they find it?
They discovered my mechanism.
They discovered your cheaters, and they started laughing because they're cheaters as well. Conrad, I got 3 minions and a critical deed that need to be done.
I'm gonna roll on do something anything to. I'll call on the loyalty of my fellow guards.
Okay, sure.
2 becomes a 3. Bad faith. Add an extra critical deed.
There's 2 critical deeds.
Starting to see through my little ruse here.
The guards that you called upon as your fellow guards started to say, "Wait a second, we thought we were heading toward the village of Crowd. You guys took us in the wrong direction, and you brought that relic, which is fearful amongst our party. No, they're not going to help you, Conrad. So we got 2 critical deeds, and we got 3 minions. I'm over at Mike. Mike, what you going to do, sir?
Well, I'm going to work at the minions, and since they're laughing and calling all of us cheaters,
yes,
Rusty may be a cheater, but I am no cheater, and if you impinge my honor, lowly minion, I'm just going to have to
break the back of somebody. You're going to escalate this? No, go ahead. Come on, get your wrestling done.
Pin somebody into submission. I'm not going to stab him with a knife. Just a headbutt. That's not going to kill him.
Okay, headbutt is good. Give me 2 dice.
5 becomes a 6. That takes care of a minion.
That becomes a 6 either by destined status or the shifting. So we now have 2 minions left. Tony, you have, as an enchantress, a terrible time trying to do something, anything. It's just beyond you in the sense that you would rather use combat or magic. There are 2 minions left. What would you like to try to do?
I'm going to do combat then.
Go ahead. Give me a die 6 if you would. A 5?
1. I will take down a minion. Because I know how to wrestle.
Yes, absolutely. You know how to wrestle. You're a multitasking type of foe. And I go on to Rusty. Rusty, I need 2 critical deeds, and I need 1 minion defeated. What would you like to do, sir?
Critical deeds, but it's a 4. Oh, 4 becomes confused. A 6.
Well, a 4 becomes a 6, yes, because of the fine work of Mike. Yes. And so we're going to go ahead and treat that as our first critical deed done. Yes, thank you, guys. And I'm going to go over to Conrad. Conrad, you're going to finish the last critical deed, I take it?
So the device that they were using that was a copy of Rusty's device with the mechanical lever doesn't work very well when you put sand in the mechanism.
It's always the sand in the mechanism.
5 becomes a 6.
And olive oil. 5 becomes a 6. With both critical deeds done. I think we got 1 more minion left for Mike to take care of. Mike?
1 more minion?
Yep. 1 more guy's ready to fight. It's round robin. You're going to take on the champion.
He didn't step down after I headbutted that other dude? All right. Just time to, I'm going to twist him up.
Died yet?
I'm going to twist him up and make him look like an inverted hanged man card.
Just another round of cribbage to them.
2, 1, 3, exhausted. I have lost my destined status, and I have become a rapscallion.
Yeah, so we go over to Tony. Tony, there's 1 guy left, and we also need a destined status to restore for Mike.
Okay, well, since I've already shown that I do know how to wrestle, I will take a break and see if I can help Mike out. Maybe give him that shoulder rub, pump him back up so he knows what he's doing.
1 die on combat. It's a 3, though. So you 2 are
he becomes
1,
a 4.
A 4.
Thank you. And the 4 bumps up the destined status. Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
So I give Mike the pep
Mike
talk.
has got his destined status sheet back. We got 1 more minion we need to take care of, Rusty. Which table would you like to roll on?
We also have because of the. Oh no. Okay. Yeah. So I'll to get rid of a minion, I'll do something, anything.
Now, are you I believe, are rolling as a rapscallion as well, or not?
I'm not a rapscallion.
Okay, no. Okay. So it's Conrad.
No, I had.
Not Conrad.
Not Conrad either.
No, we had the bad face that caused critical deeds. No, we never got rapscallions.
I thought you had a confused become rapscallion, but I guess you're telling me that those 4s have been popping over to 6s that I'm reading. Go ahead and give me a roll then, Rusty. 2 dice.
That's right. My 4 was a 6, became a 6. So, all right. There we go. Another 5 becomes a 6.
5 becomes 6. The last minion drops, and that was an too easy battle here. So, what is the result?
I don't know. Mike didn't think it was so easy. He was rather exhausted by that.
Mike didn't have a too tough a time as we head to the dunes of Shala, and the bandit.
I got a shoulder up. I'm cool.
The bandit leader says you may not stay the night here, so you must go to the Stone Road and move on to D. And that does not count as a day because you forced march yourself to the Stone Road. How many days are we up to? I see 1, 2, 3. Only three days have passed so far. And you reach the stone road. The journey during the day and the night is filled with storms. The sand gyms are warring with one another, and they're causing the horizon to swell into a wall of swerving black. Luckily, the caravan was not involved in any catastrophe. The road seems plainly marked, yet there's some confusion over it, because some of the caravan says that the road off to the west is the road we want to take. They seem bent on trying to get to the village of Krot, where others of the group realize that the short path to Pyzium is across the Sea of Sand. You guys need to break the deadlock and get the caravan moving, either to the village of Krot or the Sea of Sand. Which way do you wish to go? I go to Conrad. Over to Mike.
Of course we want to go to the Sea of Sand. For one thing, from the stone road, we don't actually have an arrow to the village of Croat. I mean,
by the map, sure, yes.
We'd be going against the, because getting to the village of Croat to the stone road involves coming down this cliff that we don't want to go up. That's why there's no arrow going that way.
You would need to get either a critical deed or a critical insight to solve this problem, Mike. Which would you like to work on? Or is that a pass from you?
Critical deed or critical insight?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'll roll on a do something anything.
Okay, go ahead.
I roll 1d6 plus 1.
Sure.
5 plus 1 is a 6.
5, 6. We got the critical deed done, and I go over to Tony. We need a critical insight in order to get the group moving to solve this problem.
Okay. Well, then I will use illusions to make them think that they're going the right way, but rather they will going the direction we want them to go.
Sounds great. Go ahead.
And there it is.
And we move on to the Sea of Sand with those perfect rolls. Now at the Sea of Sand, the desert breaks and forms into a great chasm. And here the world bleeds her foul terrors. Who selected this route? There is said to be a great beast that lives in the chasm. To assuage the beast, cults of people frequently gather up sacrifices and throw it down into the chasm. There is a very, very beautiful woman bringing 3 boys to the chasm to throw in. Now, what do you do to stop that from happening, or do you encourage it from happening?
And it's my turn, right?
It is your turn, Rusty. Yes.
I encourage it.
Okay, so Rusty encourages the sacrifice, because if we make the sacrifice to the beasts of the chasm,
she doesn't have to use all 3. She could just use one of them. The one that, like, the youngest or whatever. The one that would be most like Jimmy. So
use the red-haired one. Come on.
Yeah. Yes, we're gonna. The ginger is gonna go in. Of course, the ginger goes in. We're gonna go over to your do something anything, Rusty. Give me 2 dice there, looking for a critical deed.
4.
4. Bit confused. You're definitely going to your rapscallion side, but you haven't solved the problem.
I haven't solved the problem.
Mike, we need critical deeds or critical insights to solve this problem of the chasm. Rusty's solution is the fact that we should let the locals do what the locals do and not get in their way. Just press on.
Yeah. I think as a critical deed, I actually came this way before. That's why I know about that cliff. That I mentioned last time around, and it's all about correcting the map. So I'm going to roll 1d6 plus 1 on do something anything.
Okay, go ahead.
4 plus 1 is a 5. We don't have any 5 become 6 modifiers, right?
That is correct.
So I just made a poor guess because I don't read the local language. Oops.
You were doing something anything with 1 die roll, and you made a poor guess. It happens again. It's going to result 3. Recover after the action. And we're going to go over to Tony. Tony, we still need a critical insight, and we still need a critical deed. We need both in order to get past this obstacle. Or you can turn around and say that the heck with this. We need to go back to the stone road and take the path to the village of Krot, which is what your mercenaries have been saying all along.
Get that critical insight, Tony.
Yeah, I think I will try for the critical insights to understand the situation a little bit better, to see if we should interfere or let them do as is.
Go ahead.
And there's a 6.
And you realize that what happens at a local here is probably not of any consequence to you. However, if you get across the chasm past the Sea of Sand, you're going to enter into the town of Pyzium. And if you enter into the town of Pyzium, you start to realize, wait a second, there are wanted posters with our faces on it. If we enter Pyzium, we're all going to hang. We need to get to Nightfall, and we need to put on the crown. But we can't do that just hanging out in the desert. We need to get to the village of Kraut to be safe. So the insight would be you need to turn around and go back. So your choice, Tony. Do you want to push the people to get back on down to the stone road or not?
Or do I want to hang?
Yes, or you want to hang. Well, I mean, it's not a bad way to die, but okay. So we need to convince.
They might tell stories about us.
You could turn state's evidence and turn the three of us in.
Yeah, there you go.
And throw yourself on the mercy of the court.
I will allow you to quickly put on the crown. Is this the second time for you? I believe it is.
It would be, yes.
Yes, here comes your crown fate. You grab the crown, you put it on. You return to a previous fate. As before, the last character appears to be hanging there. You await your turn at the gallows, but then you see something out of the corner of your eyes. It is a friend. Pick someone in the party as your friend.
I'll say the Barbarian Mike.
Barbarian Mike, you see, has smuggled in a knife. It's sort of a bone knife that people thought was just an item of ornamentation. And he has cut his own noose, and he cuts the noose of somebody else. So the two of you can escape. If you headed to Pyzium, only two of you will die. That doesn't sound like the worst of outcomes.
Oh, that's pretty good. That
is
pretty good.
Except for the fact these are your friends. And but then you all of a sudden start running. You think, well, this is not a bad thing.
And you'd be stuck with Mike alone.
There's 8 archers in the dream that needed to be defeated, though. Let's go into combat to defeat the 8 archers in the dream sequence here and see how the fate really plays out. Now, we will let Rusty and Conrad, from their hanging position, do deeds as well, even though they'll be kicking at the noose and dying by the end of the dream sequence. I go over to Rusty. Rusty, there's 8 minions. How do you defeat the 8 minions? And no, you cannot escape your fate of death. You're doing it more of a spirit that's conjured.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do something, anything.
Okay, as a spirit, go ahead and give me the dice roll, and then we'll sort of interpret it afterward.
That would be a 5.
5. Well, as a spirit, you're still trying to get your sea legs there, I think, right? Because you make a poor guess, you start running forward and realize you left.
Poor guess, it happens.
Party.
Yeah, that happens
and
again. I have something around my neck. I'm
going to use the pivot of the rope tied around my neck to swing over to Mike's stand that he was on and kick the stand at one of the minions.
Okay, go ahead.
That's a 6.
6. We're down to 7 minions, and I go over to Mike. Mike, how do you defeat minions, the archers, as we're running out?
If I chose to do a do something anything. On a 6, deliver act, defeat minion, perform critical deed, else heal injured comrade. That would allow me to free either Conrad or Rusty from their noose?
No, they're like undead now in the dream.
It's more of a prophecy.
Sure.
So you want to use your combat because we're not going to need magic. I use my
combat. I just wanted to see if there was a reason to do do something, anything to try and be something other than punch him in the face, dude, or in this case, axe them in the neck. But yeah, I'll just take a minion out.
No, Mike, you're pretty much a coward running away while your friends are dying. Just thought I'd share that with you.
I just,
that's what the future
running
tells
away.
us.
You're running away, axing as many people as you can to make sure that they want to capture you again as well.
Yeah. I just want to note, Conrad, I specifically asked if I could save them before.
But with their dying breaths, they're trying to
make them mad, so they torture us after
just
we're
remember
dead.
that in their dying breaths, they're trying to save their friends. But go ahead, give me your 2 dice roll, please, Mike.
2 die combat. 3 + 4, 4 becomes 5. Sparks fly. Defeat lowly minion, great mob, or gain modifier to treat any roll of 5 as a 6. Let's take that modifier again.
Okay, we got the 5 or 6 modifier. And go ahead, Tony. There are 7 minions more we have to kill in the dream sequence before you get out.
Okay. You know what? Even though Mike has used combat, I am going to use magic because I really want to roll the 4 Alter Cosmos.
Sounds good. Give me a roll. 2 dice.
No.
Are you destined?
I am destined.
Okay,
But Mike
but it goes up and down
Oh
one.
God, it's a spirit wanes. He's rapscallion.
You are now a rapscallion, and you've lost your destined status. That was an ugly relationship. And Rusty, go ahead and make a critical deed and try to kill minion for us, please.
By the way, Tony, you can now roll on with only one die on the do something anything. If you get a 2, then you can select 4 on magic.
Okay.
Yeah.
From Kismet. Just so you know.
Let's get the 2 dice, Rusty, and see what you can do here for minions. Unless you want to roll on combat.
No.
6 and a 5. Minions down. We got
Minions
6 minions left. Conrad, go ahead and give me a roll to kill minions.
So of course I have the pry bar in my boot, which I will kick out at him and take somebody's eye out.
Sure. Yeah.
Minions. 3 becomes a 4. I think
You're a rapscallion now.
Now, did I cheat the game? I'll let you get by this one time, Rusty. But didn't you roll a rapscallion yourself in the first round here?
No, I rolled a poor guess.
Yes, that's
right.
Yes, that is right. Thank you, Rusty. Thank you for giving us
that.
And
Conrad is a rapscallion. No longer are bad. So
yes, and we're going to go over to Mike. Mike, there's 6 guys left, but we're treating 5s and 6s.
Since this is a dream, I'm just going to rip a guy's arm off and start beating him to death with his own arm.
Sure, it's only a prophecy. It doesn't mean anything in a land of prophecies. Mike has torn the arm off a guy, but it turns out most of the city is now filled with undead for whatever reason.
You pulled the wrong dude's arm off.
5 minions and an imminent scourge.
Minions and the imminent scourge. We're up to 11 minions and a scourge.
What is the scourge in this particular case? Is that like just a general malaise?
Yeah, well, it could be, but I think I sort of hinted at it that the city is plagued by the undead now. Everyone is Mike kills is coming back alive and killing other people.
So it's like this. A scourge is like this big, overarching bad thing. Okay.
Yes.
And so you have to make the scourge go away.
It's a peril. It's some sort of diabolical plot that's forming. It's a general term for an obstacle that's presented in the
sandstorm.
game. Yes, absolutely.
Anything environmental, anything magical, anything.
And it takes combat.
It looks like you need combat to resolve it.
You need combat to resolve it.
You must do it with combat. You must end whatever magic user is creating the scourge through the old-fashioned way. How do you kill a beholder? Sharp sword. Let's go on to Tony. Tony, give me a roll here, and you're going to have to keep track of your own. This is rapidly becoming complicated here. Are you rolling magic again as one die as a rapscallion?
I am a rapscallion, and it would be a -1.
Yeah, you don't want to get the ambushed and captured. You can do something anything, and then if you roll a 1, it's Kismet. It's a 2, and then you can pick the 4.
Okay. Well, but I don't have a +1 because I'm no longer destined.
You probably want to roll in combat and just get your destined back.
Yeah.
With a lucky roll, because Mike did make a 5 become a 6.
Okay. Well, I'll just take the lucky roll and be destined again.
There's your lucky roll and be destined again. That's a perfect roll. Now, I'm going to say if you guys get a great mob, I'm going to reduce this number down from 11 by a significant amount because I'm not going to just nickel and dime you here at the end of this. There's plenty of other adventure to follow out. So I'm over to Rusty. Rusty, what are you going to do? You're a rapscallion now, or no? You're the poor guess you made.
No. It's I'm still do something anything, and
we got a mob of undead and
gadgeteer. And I'll just go ahead and roll, and I got a 6.
6 is going to be a delivering a kill a minion down to 10. Conrad, what you want to do, sir?
I'm a rapscallion.
You can roll an 8 tape.
Without my pry bar in my boot, I am no longer a gadgeteer. So I will just say.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Connor. Sorry.
I will use my boot instead of my pry bar to try to injure somebody doing anything. I'm rolling 1 die, adding 1 to it.
Get that 2. Get that 1.
Yes,
we did it.
We do need that scourge as well. Now, this would just defeat 1 minion or cure an injured comrade, but we don't have any injured comrades. That is a 9. It also do something anything will not kill a great mob, which also would reduce the number significantly. I move over to Mike.
To get the 3 dice. That's all.
You're trying to roll a random 2? Okay.
No, I'm trying to roll the 1.
Roll a 1. You want a 1 for Kismet.
It is what it is, and when it comes to trying to get that 7-10 split. Or is it a 6-10? Let's say 6-10 split. Go ahead and give me a roll, Mike.
7-10 split. Last time I was tricked, and that's when I learned that, undead don't feel pain and they don't stop coming when you rip their arm off. What you need is fire. So this is when I grabbed the torch and started laying about me with great gusto. 4 becomes a 5, 5 becomes a 6. That can end the scourge.
That can end the scourge. I crossed off the scourge. Well, in the dream, the men don't seem to be undead anymore. They just seem to be
He purified them with fire.
Really hateful of Mike and Tony as they run out of the city. Tony, over to you. We need a great mob. By killing a great mob, you'll take the crown off.
Okay. Well,
who needs destined status?
I think everyone still has their destined. I got mine back, so I think I was the only one who lost it.
Sure.
So let's try combat then.
Okay.
For 5 plus 1, it's a 6. That kills a great mob.
And the great mob will say we got the crown off. Now I'm going to go ahead and push you back in the quest to the Stone Road because you realize you don't want that third prophecy as well. How many of these prophecies you're going to have to go through? I'm not sure. This was definitely something that was written by someone who thought we had a lot of time on our hand because I think there's like 45 prophecies here that you got to get through. No, it's not that many. I'll let you start picking randomly from the list as we go up. Now, as you get to the Stone Road, you head over to the village of Croat. But when you're on your way, unfortunately, Mike has put on the crown. Mike, give me a prophecy from 1 to 16. We've already gotten the first 3, so I wouldn't do them again, unless you like reruns.
Oh, we're not going to do another high die puts on the crown roll.
Nope.
Okay, we'll put on the crown. I'll take prophecy 5.
5.
Just a quick question about the game rules. I would roll the I'm a rapscallion. Do I recover from that then at the end of that scene?
You do.
Is that how it works? Okay,
yeah.
Just making sure.
So not only did we die, Tony, but we died as rapscallions.
It says
I didn't die. I escaped.
You lived as a rapscallion.
He did. He
That's
did
worse.
escape. He did escape. Him and Mike escaped. Much to the notorious nature of breaking up the group. On the actual player sheet, the Zen Fantasy sheet, there is some small text at the bottom. And it says, "Combat dice changes or switch to rapscallion last only the immediate scene." See that on the bottom there? Just to keep us honest.
Rapscallion. I'm not seeing that, but okay.
It's above the special rule.
Is that in the ref page, or is that?
Yeah, it's on your character sheet. It's in the
bottom right-hand side.
Bottom lower corner. No, under the purple text, you have a.
Jim declared the tables. Your roll and whole pass being quest fail. Oh, rapscallion lasts only 1 immediate. Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
All right, no worries.
No worries at all. Okay, off to Mike's 5. You are alone when you arrive in Pyzium. You have never known your friends. They never existed. They're out of the scene entirely. The chest supposedly holding the crown is open and found to be empty. You are seized by the guards and chained in the dungeon. Rats chew at your feet and run up and down your body. Devilish forces just come in to torture you every day. After many weeks, you escape. You run on frail limbs into a temple and find a grand door along the wall. You know the portal is magical and of a strange design, and there you enter into a pyramid and spend the rest of your life locked inside this pyramid without escape and without friendship. Well, the other guys are alive. They just will never have known you, Mike, so it's not a bad fate to go to Pyzium.
Good. Let's go. We're there.
It's only Mike that sort of loses all hope.
He can sing all he wants. It's okay.
Yeah, it's he may actually become some sort of undead guardian of that tomb, which is not a bad fate for to be a mindless.
It's nice of him to take one for the team.
Sometimes you got to take one on the fall here. Let me see if I can find the village of Croat. Now, the village of Croat, the Caravan of Croat sort of is going to leave you in the dust. You're not going to be with them anymore. But in reward for all of the trouble you've caused them, they say you can each keep your horses because they don't really want to mess with you. They're actually afraid of you and what the crown might represent. None of them want to be interwoven. They tell you, well, you haven't learned our the names of our children yet, have you? Please don't. And so you find that the Emir of Pyzium has been starving the village of Croat for some sort of disagreement where they have been feeding the local bandits. And so in order to get past this, you either going to have to travel by conjuring your own provisions and moving on, which would be a critical problem, or you're going to have to resolve the situation with the ambassador that's sent by the emir and tell him to lift the embargo on this village. And I'm over to Rusty again. Rusty, which do you want to do? Do you want to lift the embargo on the village or just conjure your own provisions?
I'll do a critical deed and conjure my own provisions.
Okay,
hopefully.
sounds good.
And I do.
And we have the first half of that, but we need the other half. That's the critical deed portion of it. So you've assembled all of the things that are like spoiled meat or sawdust. You've got a whole assemblage of stuff that can be converted by magic into the feast that we need to continue. But who is going to convert that feast? I go to Conrad. Conrad, do you have that critical insight in you, or do you want to pass?
Because I am currently a gadgeteer, that would mean that I would roll
1d6.
Single die 6.
Yes.
Plus
I believe
1.
we have better people at magic for this particular thing, so I'm going to let them attempt it first.
And I go over to Mike. Mike, did you want to roll on magic or not for critical insight?
I wouldn't do that.
Come on, Mike. You can make it. 2 dice. Take the
he
lower.
takes the lower.
You roll 66. Come
2.
on, Mike. Or 65.
And I'm going to assume that Mike has better sense, or he's muted. And I go over to Tony.
I'm sorry, I was accidentally muted, and I had this thing about it would be tempting to use combat to threaten the ambassador from the emir to lift the embargo, but combat doesn't actually allow you to do a critical insight, so yes, I pass.
Who is this Mike fellow that we were talking about?
Yeah.
He's the barbarian Mike. Do
we know a barbarian Mike? Because I'm pretty sure we don't know any barbarian
Mike
Mikes.
is not a bad man, and so
you obviously don't know the barbarian because you don't know the barbarian's name is Movbib.
Mobib.
Movbib.
Mauve Bib. I see Mauve Bib in the actual same way I see Bonomoso. And I go over to our enchantress, and they're basically putting the whole thing on you. They brought Brap. They brought this collection of clutter, and they said, of course, you can turn this rope into fine pasta. And, of course, you see this motor oil that I got, this sludge that we collected from the desert. This would make a fine sauce for that. So let's see what you can do with it all with our magic guy. They've shoved it in front of you. Please.
Okay, I'd say other people.
That's great.
I've altered the cosmos. You can do this now.
You've altered the cosmos. So one of our 2 gadgeteers with 3 dice roll ought to be able to handle this. Wonderful roll. And I go over to Rusty. Rusty, you feel invigorated. Actually, I think a small charm has been cast on you that you believe that you can do this. Are you rolling 3 dice and on magic, or are you passing, Rusty?
Let's see, 3 dice on magic, looking for a critical insight. I'm
Correct.
not going to pass.
3 dice.
Oh, wow.
Holy moly.
I could have done it as Tony.
You could have done it as
That's
Tony.
a great roll.
You have assembled the stuff.
I could have done it as Mike.
You
and
were
when
Tony's
everyone looked
puppet.
at you and said, this is ridiculous, we're going to have to talk to the ambassador and get the embargo lifted, you have suddenly created a huge feast to feed the village and feed yourself. You have passed the obstacle. And now we go on to, well, let me see. Mike has had the crown. Tony has had the crown twice. Has Conrad had the crown? I think so. Rusty, give me a number from 1 to 16 about wearing the crown. It is your turn to put it on. Unless you want Mike to be...
I don't think Conrad has put it on, to be honest, but...
Oh, I have. I put it on to discover that I was
about to be hanging.
wearing a fancy chain.
No, 3 would be bad.
About my neck.
Yeah, 3 would be bad. 3 is
17. Oh, let's see, 16, right? That's 2.
You call 16. You want to call it 16?
3. 3.
Are you sure you don't want a 3?
5. We've already done 18.
Yeah, wow. And a few days
16.
later.
There we go.
Can't you just call it a number?
No. I want the fate.
He's rolling dice, man.
My bad result.
All right, you become a trusted aide of the emir. You hold a position of great power. Very powerful men fear you. You do not remember your friends after a while. They gave up on you and left the town. You start in the emir's court dressed in silks. That is, you wear the silk hood of the headsman. So if you end the fate here, Rusty, your character would end his life being an executioner of the emir. And the emir is not a man that's, he's a cruel man. So you end up chopping off the heads of a lot of innocent people, but it's not a bad way to end the game.
They all deserved it.
They all deserved it.
Yeah.
Well, we do have a possible ending here since Rusty is willing to have his character become, but the desert has a way of making people accidentally put on the crown as well. Let's go on to H, the ruins of Ra.
We don't know who Rusty as the executioner for the Emir has executed.
No, it is a fate that will come or not come. You just see him wickedly smile when you see that he's just removed the crown.
And I'm a well-paid executioner, I'll have you know.
A well-paid executioner. For the moment.
Man's got to make a living.
Hey, everyone's
by the way, they're all
fate.
By the way, they're all eunuchs.
That may not be a deal breaker depending upon what the women are like. The ruins of Ra. The ancient stone temple of the sun god Ra is deserted. Though the structure is grand and impressive, the realm that created this place is long past. Still, huge stone columns dominate a stone blockhouse with a sealed door. Ra was once the god of the desert people before they heard the words of a true prophet. The door is carved bronze. Wow, carved bronze, incredible. With the image of a bare-chested man with a bird's head and beak. Ra carries a bow which discharges arrows of lightning. You have arrived at the area on the end of the day. So, you must establish a watch as the shadows approach. It's just you guys now. You don't have a caravan with you. So, who is the first person of the watch? Amongst yourself.
I'll be the first person on the watch.
Mike is going to be first person to watch. Anyone to disagree with that?
That's fine.
Sounds good.
I'll take second.
And when we have the first person of the watch, Mike, you need to either opt to put on the crown. You could say it was by accident, but it's calling to you. Or you must use magic to get a critical insight to resist it. Which do you wish to do? Try the critical insight roll on magic? 2 dice take the lower? Or did you want to put on the crown and accept another fate?
Mike, don't mess up my good result here, okay? This is a job waiting for me here. Pyzium.
Yeah, but, here's the thing. If I roll on the magic, I have a 2/3 chance of losing my destined status among other bad things, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to put that crown on, Rusty.
Give me a number, Mike.
10.
10 sounds like a fine number.
Like I did?
10 sounds like twice 5.
All right, you find yourself in a dark alley. You can see a terribly disfigured man telling you a tale of the past adventure. The tale is very compelling. He relates the story of men who fought well, but were captured eventually by bandits. He tells in excruciating detail how each member of the party died. The guard was skinned. One guy was skinned magically. One person was drowned in sand, buried in the desert. Each death he describes as worse than the last. So we're going to go around the table here for a second. I'll start with Tony. And Tony, describe how Mike died from desert banditry.
Well, it was quite tragic. It's every weapon that he had rusted in his hands and, just completely disintegrated. So he had no way of truly defending himself against the bandits.
That's ugly. Okay, and I go to Rusty. And Rusty, describe how Tony was killed by bandits.
He was dragged in a noose behind 2 camels.
It couldn't have been old age. They couldn't have just nursed me for many years.
Could have used his sharp wit.
Yes, exactly. I really wanted to be the executioner,
as old
guys,
age and as king of the bandits. No, it's we already said the Rusty. Conrad, how did Rusty die by the bandits?
An old age, of course.
Well,
as the bandit leader.
While I would love to say that, they sealed him in the pyramid treasure room in a room full of gold where he was well paid.
Where obviously the beetles ate him to death too over time because those things are vicious. I've seen.
He starved,
And Mike, how did Conrad die in the tomb?
Conrad died very bravely. Conrad was buried up to his neck in the shifting sands and interrogated. Conrad never spoke. Eventually they left him behind for the shifting sands to bury his skull.
So In essence, probably Conrad is also the guy who just tells these excruciatingly detailed stories. He survived somehow that punishment of the sand, but his friends didn't. And you don't seem to remember this. And you might have escaped your fate as well, which, as I remember, what did Tony say was your fate to die, Mike?
My weapons rusted in my hands, leaving me defenseless.
That's right. So you could be left with the curse that if you ever touch metal, it will rust away in your hands. It doesn't sound like a great fate, but it's not one that would kill you and Conrad, although Conrad is going to live disfigured and Rusty and Tony would just die out.
I didn't talk. I was crying like a baby, but I wasn't talking.
Yeah, that's true. Old Peachy didn't talk about this. So Tony has Mike had put on the crown. So who was second watch? That was Conrad, I believe, right?
Yes.
Conrad, you can make a critical insight and leave your alls to die, or you can just go ahead and...
I'm putting the crown on.
Go ahead and give me a number here.
So I believe Rusty rolled the 16, was it?
Yes.
Then let's go with the 15.
Okay, the 15. Let me go to that one. You arrive in Pyzium and are recognized as a long-lost child of the Emir. You are quickly brought into the palace and treated regally. You and your friends become wealthy. Wow, you eventually become the Emir. However, though you try very hard, your rule impoverishes the city-state. The citadel suffers through the revolts and diseases. You never find time to marry. Your friends abuse their privileges. Oh, how can
that wouldn't happen?
Conrad, how did what job did you give Rusty, and how did he abuse it?
Of course.
He was the executioner, of course.
And how did he abuse it?
He liked the job just a little bit too much.
So he started just executing minor criminals? Give me more elaboration here.
He executed thousands.
Thousands?
Thousands.
Wow. How many people lived in the city?
Just a little more than thousands.
Yeah, so it was city, maybe 5,000.
I mean, that's it's one way to control, starvation, right? Is to reduce the number of people. But Rusty solved the problem the way he knew.
We didn't have very much crime.
And Rusty, how did Tony abuse his powers? What position did he have, and how did he abuse them?
He was the head of the exchequer. He embezzled everything.
He embezzled everything. And what did he spend it on?
Himself, I think.
But I mean, was it indulgences? Was it spices to become an addict? Give me add me some detail here.
Oh well, he has a certain need for drugs from far away.
Yes, and he obviously had a number of concubines he was also giving the drugs to as well. Correct?
That's true. He aphrodisiacs mostly.
He had to go to the old Viagra at such a young age. It's terrible. Well, let's go to Tony. Tony, how did Mike?
He wouldn't take the Viagra.
How did Mike abuse his powers?
Oh, Mike was the what's called appointed the sanitation commissioner, and he didn't pick up the trash.
So that he essentially didn't understand the idea that the city had refuse. Yes. And what happened? Describe the pestilence and the rats and everything else that came.
Pestilence. It was horrible. All the people were up to their ankles or up to their shins in rats just everywhere. The pestilence. People died left and right. But Mike was okay.
Yeah, but Mike lived through it. He just thought it was more things that the barbarian is used to having. And Mike. So Conrad is the leader of the city. Why was he so negligent? Was he just too trusting? Tell me what happened to Conrad. His mental acuity, everything. And you're probably muted.
No. I was clearing my throat. Conrad, unfortunately, became
that's Emir Bonimoso to you.
Emir Bonimoso, unfortunately, fell under the influence of the head priest of the city, who was not a priest of Ra, the sun god, but a priest of one of the death gods. And that's why Conrad made these poor decisions that, caused his executioner to become bloodthirsty and his sanitation engineer to, allow pestilence through the city. Conrad was under the influence of a death god.
Deaf gods or deaf gods?
It was the gods of defecation, I think is what he said.
Poop gods.
And so yes, the deaf
gods.
The poop gods essentially took over the city. The frog-headed gods, those are the ugliest ones. It's not a bad fate for you all. You all get to sort of live out your lives, but I think you can do better than that. There's a couple of better results here, and I scrambled the order just a little bit so that you wouldn't just think high is the best. Now we leave the ruins of Ra and we hit the Lost Trail, getting to the end of our journey here and the end of our tale. See if I can find I. H is after I. The mountains to the north form a barrier that few can pass. The caravan men would have told you that the Lost Trail is the only way across, and it's you need a guide, and you guys have never been here before. So how do we find the Lost Trail? And I'm over to Tony. It's more than a critical insight. It's going to be a critical problem. A critical problem will be a series of critical deeds and critical insights. So what's the first step in finding the Lost Trail, Tony?
Well, the first part is finding the trail.
Sure.
So using magic, I'll make the road glow like gold.
Very good. Yes, follow the yellow bricks. Absolutely. Give me 2 dice and add your destined.
4, 5, respite. Okay.
So you tell us all that we need to find the gold road, but also you see a shifting in the area when your magic is being used, and a large worm is attracted by the magic. So we need still a critical insight, a critical deed, and we also have a great mob that has to be defeated. And you are now going to also treat, your case, 5s to 6s.
Yes.
And I go over to Rusty. Rusty, we need a critical deed, a critical insight, and defeat a great mob. How do you proceed to find the lost road?
Yeah, I think I'm going to roll on magic, and we're hoping for the 4, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to roll 1 die for looking for a 3 here. 6. Of
6,
course, I defeated the great mob.
Okay, you're going to defeat the great mob. There's lots of ways to defeat a great mob, but that's
I could do the critical insight. We'll do the critical insight.
Critical insight is gone. So you realize that you have found the bricks that Tony is talking about. They don't glow as much, and there's only few because they've been looted by people thinking that they were something of great value when simply they were just an illuminating stone to show the way. And we move on to people having their homes now, the waste. And we go on to Conrad. We need a great mob killed, and we need a critical deed.
I'm going to erect a tower to observe the area.
Sure, yeah, get some height on this situation.
Sounds great. You can't see it from the ground, so 2 dice looking for the 6. There it is.
6. So we have a little bit of a tower built that we can get up on, and we can see the path now, but the path ahead has the great worm that needs to be defeated. And whenever we have a great worm to defeat, we send the killer of the great worms, Mike, forward. Mike, how do you kill this worm?
Oh,
I'm never going to forget you, Mike.
It can swallow me, and I'll cut myself out from the inside for all I care.
Ah, yes. I've seen that in the movie as well. And give me 2 dice, Mike.
Taking the illuminated bricks for their homes, that's actually a very smart thing to do, because that means they have light in their homes at night without fire, and it's actually illuminated stones would be a great.
We don't want to insult you, Mike, but your job's not to be thinking of
something. Because in a fantasy world, we have all those Harlequin mysteries that we consume in the night. We don't fear for our very lives from the creatures that come out of the ground. All right.
Mike,
yes.
I don't want to say anything, Mike, but we don't pay you for that sort of thinking. Okay, we pay you to hit things with your axe.
And what do you think the literacy rate is of the desert people? Just a thought.
So he's been mocked now.
When Conrad was the emir of Pyzium, the illiteracy rate was pretty high, because those who were illiterate were the first to go into the street for the gods of defecation. But we're going to go back to our quest here, and you find your way across the Lost Trail, but you're stuck in front of Pyzium, knowing if you enter, the fate would be that Conrad is going to be recognized as an heir. He will eventually inherit the kingdom, but all of you would rather die as better adventurers with even minor kingdoms of your own that you can rule with uncertainty and a hope, rather than dealing with it.
I like the Conrad solution, so,
Okay, well, then we'll let Rusty decide. He's going to pass or put on the crown. It's up to you, Rusty.
Pass or put in a crown? No, I like the last one.
And we're going to go to Conrad. Conrad, would you like to put on the crown again, or would you like to accept the fate of being the emir of the kingdom?
It doesn't sound like a good fate for me that I was the Emir, but I was not a good Emir.
No, there's better.
No, I think there's better. Better. I'll put the crown on.
Yeah, number 16 was better, but.
And I'm going to give you a result number. Go ahead. Which one?
14.
14. Okay. So
he mixed them up. Remember?
Yeah. You are surrounded by opulence. At least we can remember it that way. You are surrounded by opulence. You're in a town, and I should say you have your own palace in an exotic Oriental land.
All right, nice. I'm liking this already.
You are surrounded by gold and gems. Slaves serve your every need.
There we go.
You are content in this new life, but for the moment you regret some past deed, something that happened.
No, I don't regret that. Come on, I got
and
gold.
Then you realize
your friends.
Sort of delusional moment, some moment of doubt that you should never have had. That that's right. You became king of this exotic land. But you made all of your friends your slaves as well through magic. And you looked around and you said, oh, yes, there's that dog in the corner. That was once Rusty. I changed him into a dog.
Well, I like being a dog.
Mike.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's not that bad.
That's okay.
I should say, Rusty, you were changed into a dog. What happened to Tony's fate that he was enslaved by Conrad's warped magic? What did he turn into, or what happened to his mind, his intellect, his abilities?
He became the sous chef.
He became a sous chef. Well, that's okay. So add a little bit more detail, because it doesn't sound like it's terrible to just.
And they don't really need sous chefs when you're doing Oriental food, so
Interesting. Okay, so he had no use. Did he get mind blanked as well, or what happened to him?
No, only chopped vegetables. He had
to make noodles and chop vegetables, and he kept chopping off parts of his fingers down.
I'm not seeing any downside here.
So he's a mindless automaton and will slowly cut his fingers off through accidents. Tony, what happened to Mike?
Not really seeing any downside here.
I'm not seeing any downside myself either. Mike, I should say, Tony, what happened to Mike? How was he controlled by Conrad's bad magic?
Oh, Conrad
bad
actually.
Magic. Wait a minute. Whoa.
That's a value judgment on that.
How was he enslaved by Conrad's magic?
Well, unfortunately, Conrad turned him into a great stallion because he thought he could ride them. However, Mike's had too much spirit to break, so they ended up having to put him down. It was sad.
Put him down. And they probably gelded him first, I'm sure.
But he was never broken. He lived his whole life and never was broken.
He did. He lived and he could
we're all going to die.
He could be the one that was going to sire all the horses of the desert.
Yeah.
Mike, we know that Rusty has become a slave and was turned into a canine, a faithful companion. Tony was a mindless cook and ended up putting in many of his ends of his fingers in the soup, and you were turned into a horse. How did the slaves revolt to eventually kill the king of this exotic land that Fable tells us about?
He was
how did Bonomoso meet his end?
Whoa!
Bonomoso met his end one night in his harem, where his lovely ladies decided that they all loved him so. His 1,001 wives decided that they couldn't bear to be without him, and each one of them sliced off a strip of skin to weave into their own hair that they might always be with their lord.
It was cut apart in pieces by the thing.
He choked on one of Tony's feet.
It's not the worst of endings to die with 1,001 concubines / wives, but it is a bad fate for the rest of you. I move on to Mike. Mike, did you want to put on the crown?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so let's change that destiny. Mike, you find yourself on board a sailing vessel. You stand on the prow of the vessel, and there's a biting wind at your back. You're at the sea for weeks. It sounds exactly like you're heading home. The vessel ahead of you holds the Crown of Destinies. You know that the Crown of Destinies cannot be allowed to reach your domain in order to poison the people of the north. So instead, you order the men for ramming speed to sink the other vessel. Let's see if we can get a critical deed and a critical insight. in order for that to happen inside of the dream. I go over to Tony. Tony, how do you use magic to get us a critical insight to overtake this vessel? The Crown of Pyzium is escaping.
I summon the winds to carry us faster.
Sounds good. Give me a roll, please.
5 plus 1 is a 6. Critical
5
insight.
plus 1 is a 6. Is going to be a critical insight. So now you know that you have the winds behind you. And I go over to Rusty. Rusty, we need a critical deed to reach on ramming speed.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I think we'll have the magical oars take the ship even faster.
Go ahead and give me 2 dice under do something anything. A 5 plus 1 is a 6. You got that critical deed. Conrad, the Scourge. Somebody must have the crown, and that crown is being held by the Scourge of the North, a dual evil person and lich who wanted to take the crown to punish our own barbarian homelands in the north. How do you eliminate that Scourge, Conrad?
So my only choice is to take 2d6 and take the lower.
It is,
but
at least with combat, you might roll dice to get 4 turn to 6 or 5 turn to 6, or you may pass.
I would hate to pass on such an important roll as this.
Well, then why don't you roll maybe on...
I'll roll a do something anything on the hope that I roll Snake Eyes and get...
Sure.
Snake Eyes, or you can roll on the magic
or you might become a rapscallion to help.
And only 1 die, and it's only a 4. I'm
going to improve the sails on the ship as best I can.
Sounds good. Give me it.
And there's a 5, which is a poor guess.
Poor guess. It's just going to mean that you're going to recover after this escapade, but it's going to be treated.
I didn't wimp out, right? Because I had 1,001 cuts on me.
And
but
Mike,
I didn't wimp out.
Mike, there is a Scourge that needs to be defeated to take the crown back.
The Scourge doesn't need to be defeated to take the crown back. The Scourge needs to be thrown overboard to sink to the bottom of the ocean where the crown will lie with the fishes.
Give me the roll.
5.
5?
Sparks fly, defeat lowly minion, great mob, gain modifier. Let's take that modifier to treat any roll of 5
modifier
as a
5 or a 6. I go over to Tony. Tony, the Scourge needs still to be defeated, but we're rolling 5s and 6s. Did you want to roll 1 die as an enchantress and try to get that?
Yeah,
5 or
absolutely.
6 plus 1. Let's see if the enchantress. What's your enchantress's name?
Make that a 2. Die 6, lowly minions, and imminent Scourge.
The Scourge actually clones into 2, making an illusion of itself. There are now 2 Scourges that need to be defeated in order to take the crown back. But what's your name of your character, Enchantress? You don't have a name. It's the unnamed Enchantress. We love it. Yeah. Go on to Rusty. Rusty, what were you going to do? You going to try combat?
Are you going to add the a d6 of minions also?
Added. Nah, I won't. We won't need to belabor that.
All right. So I can't really do anything against to get rid of Scourges. So instead, I'm going to roll for magic, looking for a 3.
Lucky roll. Go ahead and roll.
Nope. Got a 6.
5 becomes a 6. I tell you what, I'll allow you to hold that destined status. If somebody loses it, we'll eliminate that double destined status. I'm going over to Conrad. What would you like to do, sir? Did you want to take the role of the... Now, Rusty, you are a rapscallion, right?
No, I'm still a gadgeteer.
You were the poor guess? Who rolled the confused rapscallion, I thought? Anyone? No?
Okay. He got Conrad rolled a 5.
Yeah,
but that doesn't make him a rascallion.
Makes a change. Go ahead and get Conrad, over to you. Did you want to try to get rid of one of the 2 Scourges, or did you want to try to help the party in minor ways, maybe alter the cosmos?
Didn't somebody do combat? So should not Mike or should not Rusty have been rolling him at a -1?
If Rusty is rolling at a -1, doesn't he put it in?
He makes it a 4, which then turns it into a 3d6 to resolve the action.
Now, Rusty would be a 5 plus 1 and -1, right? So
it would be happens again here, and add d6 lowly minions or great mob.
Yeah, it would. We're going to treat this as a second respite. We won't add the minions of the mob, Rusty. But go ahead. Thank you, Conrad. We'll add that instead.
No, it becomes a 6 because didn't Tony roll a 5?
No, Mike rolled the Sparks Fly. Mike rolled Sparks Fly, which retreat any rolls a 5 as a 6.
Oh, okay. So I still got 5.
He's still got his destined status restored for somebody like
minus 1 for a 5, which becomes a 6.
I'm gonna lock
Conrad.
I'm gonna lock the destined status for everyone on for the rest of this adventure, which is coming to a close rapidly. So give me a roll then, Conrad.
2 dice on the do something anything to improve the propellers of the ship.
Sounds good. Give me it.
And I succeeded in not doing anything.
Yeah, it's a critical deed, and we're going even faster toward the enemy ship.
Towards our certain doom.
But it's not correcting the problems of the Scourge. And Mike, back to you. 2 Scourges. We're going to leave all this to Mike. I'm going to start making you guys roll in the combat table. Give me rolls, Mike.
Well, one of them's going overboard, just like that.
Boom, one is overboard.
The wrong one. The real one is still there.
One more Scourge. And so, Tony, give me a die roll on combat, please.
Okay, I can do it. A 5.
A 5 becomes a 6.
And 5 becomes 6.
Tony, in your dream, Mike, is remembered as the person who saved the North. It's not a bad ending. Tony, I go to you. Did you want to still be remembered as the person who saved the North or not?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay. Rusty, technically you passed, so I should make you pass again, but is there any really big concern you would have with that ending, that you guys ended up delivering the crown, but somehow it was taken by a lich to the north, and there it was thrown into the sea eventually by you guys to keep it from going to your home world?
I like 16 and 15, but I'll pass for the sake of the group.
Okay. And Conrad? I think one of the only other good endings that could possibly be conjured out of this would be the fact that you end up having a fate that you never touched the crown in the first place and never started this mission. So it's a possibility that you could get that fate.
Well, in a way, we're on a boat heading home, so this is not a bad ending.
No, it's not a bad ending at all. I think so.
With the purse full of coins, right, and a ship that.
And a conquered ship, and you're back obviously into the adventuring life. Yeah, and I think that's where we're going to call it quits for today.